and here for another edition of great chat, banter, and a review of the week and a review of what's coming in anticipation. Our guests today are Mr. Grant Miller, a very established entrepreneur, businessman, very successful, and he's now going into boxing promotion. Thank you for coming, Grant.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. We also have an ex-heavyweight boxing champion. It is no less than Mr. Julius Francis. Hi, Julius.
How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you. I must thank you for coming back again. You were in high demand, so we had to call you back.
This makes me laugh when I hear things like that.
Right, sure. Oh, it's a pleasure.
All right.
We will be joining a bit later on by Mr. Shaym Batra, but let's start with Grant. And Grant, you're going into very well these days, very sort of glamorous, shall we say, area of boxing promotion.
Yes.
We already have the likes of Mr. Frank Warren, the likes of Eddie Hearn, and these individuals are at the top of their game, and they're always in the media. So I hope to see you similarly in the media very soon.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what made you just decide to go into boxing promotion?
Been a lifelong boxing fan. My father was. Been around boxing most of my life.
Right. So if I could just ask you just
Been around boxing most of my life.
Yes.
Grew up.
Thank you.
Watching boxing, going to boxing,
Right.
knowing most of the promoters back in the 80s and 90s. So
right.
just a general progression to go into the sport and look to do things a little bit different.
Right. Well, we did have a third sort of major promoter on the scene, which is a boxer with two X's,
Yep.
Ben Shalom.
Ben Shalom.
And he seems to be doing okay. So I'm sure there's plenty of room for a fourth.
Yes.
Promotion. Yeah. So,
and obviously you've got Wasserman as well with Nissa and Callie Sauerland.
Right. Sure.
Family have been in the game for the last 40 years or whatever.
Very good. Excellent. I'm sure we'll come back on that.
Yes.
We're just being joined by our third guest, and it's Mr. Shaym Batra. No grand entrance for you, I'm afraid, Shaym. You'll have to just. Good to see you. Good to see you.
This one
you'll have to share that one today. Yeah, because you have to speak in both of them. Yeah, we're sharing. Yeah. Right. So welcome. Thank you. We've also got Julius with us. He's on the video streaming. Can you see him on the screen? Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
You're right. Yeah.
Good.
Well, gentlemen, we're probably all thinking about the major, a boxing match that's going to apparently break all records with a 96,000 audience, and that's going to happen tomorrow. The weigh-in is this evening, and I'm supposed to sort of be rushing down there after the show, actually. So, and it's Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. So we can start. So we can ask the expert, Julius.
Not about expert.
In the ring himself. Right. I can hear him quite well, actually. Is your are you your speaker, Julius? Are you have got your sort of like hands-free one or something? Or?
What do you want me to? I got my headphones. If that's any better.
Yeah. Is the
Let me see if that's. Don't know if he's. Can you hear me? I don't know. No. As far as I know, my speaker. Can you hear me? I don't know what's happened. Have I gone off?
Oh, it's joking.
Can you hear me?
I understand. Yeah, we can hear you now, Julius. Thank you. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, like I say, I don't know about no expert, but again, looking forward to the big fight the weekend. Yes. I think it's breaking box office records at the gate. I think it's gate receipts or gate records.
Yes.
At Wembley is 96,000, which is I think just about the biggest crowd they've had in Wembley. I know the Tyson Fury fight. They were saying when it was Tyson Fury, Dillian White, they were saying it was going to be 90. I think it was 92 or 93,000. I think they may be because there was there might have been about 94,000 in roughly something like that. So this one they're going 96,000. So as far as on the night in Wembley Stadium is going to be very busy. And it should be, hopefully, a great night of boxing. So
Undercard as well. Undercard, which includes Hamza Shiraz, who is my
yeah, Hamza Shiraz is again a quality fighter. I don't really know. See, I'm a little bit maybe in the dark about some of these fighters because Hamza is kind of like one of the guys that's coming through. But I'm more interested really when I look at boxing. Mainly I concentrate on the heavyweights, light heavyweights, cruiserweights. So looking at those smaller guys, I know he's about was he middleweight, so I don't necessarily look at them, you know. But I know he's a good fighter, though. I know he's a very good fighter. So I don't think am I connected because I can't hear anything.
No, correct.
So
Can you
there
hear
you
us
go.
now? Can you hear us now?
Yes, there you
Did
go.
you hear me, Julius?
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I think so.
Did you hear me?
Can you hear? Can you hear
Yes,
Shaym?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you think's
So
going to win tomorrow?
so it's all working now. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
say
yeah.
again.
So who do you think's gonna have the upper hand tomorrow? Joshua or Dubois?
You know what? I know that they're saying that Anthony Joshua is the favourite. Anthony Joshua is the favourite, but Daniel Dubois is champion. So being champion, being a new world champion, it raises your levels. Becoming champion raises your levels 15-20%. So as good as Daniel was, and as good as Daniel is, he's been raised. Anthony Joshua has fought in that stadium. He's fought there. I think he's fought there 4 times. Obviously, his biggest night there was against, or one of the biggest nights was against Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko, which he was victorious in that fight. And then he's saying he's got something to prove, becoming 3-time heavyweight champion. And I think that would be, yeah, he'd only be only the second British fighter to become 3-time heavyweight champion. That's him and Lennox Lewis. And I know, yeah, Daniel, for me, I go with Daniel because Daniel's from South London. I'm a South Londoner, so I back my South Londoners. He's got a lot to dig out and prove. I think Daniel. He's got a lot of heart. He's proved he can mix it with those big guys. His last fight, I think it was Salinas or Gerard Miller. So he fought Miller, and Miller was a big baby Miller, a big man, 350 pounds or something like that he is, or was. Big guy. Actually made Daniel look really small. And he came through that pretty well and decent, dug in against Helenius, and I think Helenius was his last fight. Took a lot of good shots, proved he can take some punches.
Yeah.
Don't want to keep getting it by Joshua like that, but
Sure. Yeah, it was actually Hergovich. Hergovich was his.
sorry, Hergovich, yeah.
Yeah, Helenius was the guy.
Hergovich, not Helenius, Hergovich.
Yeah, sure.
Proved that he could take some good shots from him. But obviously he don't want to get called like that by Anthony, because Anthony can, as we all know, Anthony can punch. So, but I'd give the fight. I've got to swing on the side of Joshua, and I'm giving it 55-45 in Joshua's favour. We know that Daniel is not scared of him. We know that Daniel, they had this thing ages ago, sparring. Daniel apparently knocked Joshua out. That was the talk. But obviously, what happens in the gym is not necessarily what transfers out into the real world, as it were. They both moved on from there. So, but yeah, I kind of go 45-55 in Joshua's favour, only because he had that experience. He has more experience at the high level, you know. They both have been susceptible to getting clipped. It's going to be on the night who's got the best chin, I think, because I very much doubt that the fight is going to go more than. I don't see the fight going more than 7 rounds. So,
I think it's quite a fair assessment.
yeah, I don't see the fight going more than 7 rounds. So it's going to be who, not necessarily even who is in the best condition to take the punches, but who lands those big punches and is able to sustain and keep the pressure on and keep once they have their fighters hurt, once they have one or another hurt, who's going to be able to finish or who's going to be able to suck it up and come back, you know. But I don't see the fight going more than 7 rounds.
Let's see what our other guests think. Shaym, yeah, what's your
Dubois can be a bit of a challenge as well. He has proved it, but I think he himself has got a lot to prove tomorrow night. Definitely, because Joshua's here for the first day to try and get that case back. I mean, look, 96,000 is not a bad groupie, is it, to come to Wembley Stadium? Do you know what I mean? It's big, but I think my money is on Joshua. I think Joshua will definitely pile it on, and I reckon he'll do in the early rounds. He'll really go for it. I'm hoping it's going to be a long fight, so we can all get a benefit out of it. But yeah, you know, but I think he's there to prove his mark. And look, Julius, you know, boxing goes any way we like. We all say we're going to do this and do that, and this is going to happen. The training takes place 3-4 months. You're all in for the game, and then suddenly, boom, one mistake.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But they've been training for that. Obviously, this fight has been in the making for quite a long time. Daniel said that he's been in training for 3 months, the same as maybe Anthony Joshua. He's been training since his last fight. So they're going to be both in supreme condition. They both look ready. You know, I was watching a bit of one of the press conferences, and they both look ready. Daniel is this type of very kind of, he keeps a lot of things close to his chest. We know what Anthony Joshua brings because he's been there for such a long time. Daniel is a man of few words, and sometimes these people with few words, and they come out and the words are spoken in the deeds that they do. You know.
I'll be surprised if it goes past 6 rounds. It is heavyweight boxing after all, and
Yeah.
one punch can change everything. It's been proved many times in the past that you just got to wait for that opening, land that shot, and the fight goes a totally different direction.
Yeah, you can't really direct it anywhere. So,
Well, because the two of them have got so much power, there's a lot of power between the two of them. So, who is going to go out and dominate with the jab? Who is going to go out and say, throw caution to the wind and just start trying to land those big bombs? In that scenario, someone might walk onto something. So then the fight does go early. But even like I say, you're saying 6 rounds, I'm saying 7. I can't see it going more than that because the two guys are very big guys. They're, what are they, 18 stone plus, the pair of them. Working at such a high, they're going to be having to work at such a high pace to inflict damage on each other. And it's not only the physical side of it, which is the punching and taking the punches, but the mental side of it. How does the mental hold up as well? Because that's as much draining as actually sometimes can be the physical side of the game.
Yes. Yeah, I think all you said, very fair assessments. I think there's 2 aspects here which probably we need to also take into account. Firstly, we've got to remember that in fact, Daniel Dubois is a champion.
Yes.
He's the title holder.
Mm-hmm.
He got that title, the IBF, because when he beat Hrgovic. So he's actually the champion, and he has not been in this position before, in the sense that he's not had to defend a world title before. So we may be seeing a very determined Daniel Dubois. I think probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say, because becoming champion raises your game. It's going to raise it by 15-20%. So if he was at 40% of everything that he was, he's up to 60-70%. And that's in his confidence, that's in his mindset. Anthony Joshua is, when Anthony Joshua became world champion, we saw a different Anthony Joshua. We saw Anthony Joshua actually grow. He became a bigger man, and not just a bigger man physically, but you saw his presence grow. And that's what happens when you become champion. Your presence grows. It's like, I would say that you're not actually walking on the floor. When you're walking, you're actually floating, because that's how you feel inside. I'm the champion and no one can't trouble me. And that's, yes, they're going in. You go into the ring as a champion. You go into the ring defending or as a challenger. Your mindset is as a challenger, but you are the champion. You've got something that you want to hold on to. You've got something that you want to defend. Anthony Joshua now has to go out there and he's thinking to himself, and if he's not saying it, he's still got that thing inside him. And as many people have said, you win this, you become 3-time champion. That in itself, to hear that, is pressure. to go in the ring and say, right now, I've got this next big giant man in front of me, and he's the champion. I want to go and take what he's got. The other guy is saying, right, you're not getting what I've got. So there's that clash of two titans, which it's really is going to be, because you've got two supremely fit and supremely and very big, strong athletes going in there, going to be knocking heads. So I'm very much looking forward to it. But I can't, obviously, like I said, I can't see it going more than 7 rounds.
I might go for Dubai.
You can't have a big fight yet.
Sorry, say again?
Because Joshua has come back after a very, 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 very long time. You know as well as me, then boxing you normally go and get a couple of warm-up fights, nice ones, you know, just warmies, and then you go in for the big one. But he's going in for the big one straight away. It's a tall order, I think, and the way the heavyweight division is, you've got Fury waiting for what's his name, who got arrested the other day.
Yeah, that was a bit strange.
We don't know why, but anyway.
Yeah.
And then you've got Fury there, and if Joshua does win, where does that put him next? Does he get into the top 3, top 4, or does he still have to cling on and fight some more till he gets up? Because now everybody wants Usyk. Usyk has already proven himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Joshua were to win, he would be a world champion again by virtue of the IBF title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would immediately put him into contention for.
But yes, sorry, he's still got to be behind Tyson Fury. He's still behind Tyson Fury, and if say Tyson Fury goes out and wins against Usyk in this rematch, does Usyk then get a rematch? So there's another long way. Or does Tyson Fury just settle and ride off into the sunset? Or does he then decide and say, yes, I will fight Andy Joshua, and become undisputed, or for the undisputed title again? Even in this fight, if Daniel Dubois were to lose the fight, is there a rematch clause? You know, so there's all these kind of twists and turns that it's kind of, sometimes I think it's a little bit unfair in boxing, but it's the way that boxing is now, you know? Sorry, I can't hear anything.
He can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, I was saying the undercard. You know, we've already mentioned Hamza Shiraz is on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there, and Liam Smith was supposed to have been fighting, but he's yeah.
Coming at 6 days' notice.
Yes, that's right. No guys come for Josh. Yeah. So so there aren't any. I mean obviously Hamza's up and coming, but there aren't any other sort of established champions. I think. Well, I think Josh, was it Josh?
This is all for the main fight, isn't it?
Yeah, main fight, yeah.
96,000.
Yeah.
And we've got a new promoter here, don't forget.
Yeah, waiting in the ring. Yeah.
And a newspaper owner as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, so I'm sure they're.
But I think this can. I think Dubois is going to hold on to what he's got, because it puts him in a very, very strong position. Like you said, his head is high now as well, not high enough, and he keeps everything to his chest, so he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
So you don't know where he's coming from. Oh, I'm going to smash you. I'm going to do this. And does all the time.
And I think, as I said, I think the fact that he's actually now, for the first time, fighting as a world champion, that boosts your, confidence.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And the increase
Yeah,
earning power you've got
Yeah.
for being a champion.
that's right. I think had he not been champion, it may have been a bit scrappy like Dillian White and Joshua was, because they each wanted to really prove a point at the beginning of the fight. If you recall, it was a very scrappy fight at the beginning. But I think
Yeah, it was, but again, because there was a lot of needle between them from the amateur days, that's it kind of went over. And then as well with Anthony Joshua then is nothing like the Anthony Joshua that is now. He's a completely different fighter. You know?
and also, of course, Ben Davison apparently has really, really helped him to focus, and he's far better, mentally in terms of.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's all these things as you progress. And Anthony Joshua went through a kind of dark period in his career, which I kind of think was inevitable, you know, because at the start of his professional boxing career, I personally think that he became a professional too early. He jumped in and became a professional fighter too early. I think, and I've said this and I'll say it again and again and again, well, I'll say it again, that at the start of when he turned pro, I think he should have stayed amateur until the Rio Olympics. Won the Rio Olympics because he wouldn't have lost nothing. All he would have done was learn. He'd only been boxing 4 years when he won the Olympics in London. That's no time to win anything and learn anything and learn nuances of boxing. So turning pro, he won a lot of his early pro fights just purely on his physical abilities and his physical stature. You know, there was lots of guys out there that looked at Andy Joshua, looked at his muscles, looked at the size of him, and folded before they kind of threw a punch, because he is, yes, he could punch a bit, but there was nothing technical really about him. He was going on what he kind of his physical abilities. But then, as we saw when he lost against Ruiz, when he even in the rematch with Ruiz, especially when he lost against Usyk in the first fight, he was lost. It was like he was totally lost and didn't know what to do. Then in the second fight, again he lost, but his mind was saying something else. His mind was, and he had to go away, and it broke him down. And those are the things that you learn when you're coming up through the game, about being able to take a loss or being able to take setbacks and learning all these different things. And now, yes, Ben Davis has got Anthony into this position where he's made him a supremely confident athlete. He's honed his boxing skills, which obviously that's what you do as you progress. But yeah, Ben Davis has done a good job, but I think Ben Davis is working with a supreme athlete, because Anthony Joshua, forget boxing, he would have been, if he just was an athlete, he would have been a supreme athlete anyway.
Yes, definitely. Great. Now we're going to go for a short break, so stay with us, Julius, please, and we're going to come back in a few minutes.
No problem.
Have I lost my mind, wasting time, begging for... Imagine a world where every young mind is given the chance to flourish and thrive. Thanks to your kind donations, this dream can become a reality this Ramadan. Minhaj Welfare Foundation is the driving force behind over 600 educational institutions and have provided over 250,000 scholarships. With only £15 per month or £160 per year, you can pay for a student's education. shaping futures and creating a world where education is not a luxury, but a right for all. The donor will receive an education progress report. To donate your zakat, sadaqah or charitable donations, visit your local MWF office at 12 Car Road, Nelson, BB9 7JS. Call us on 01282 723 455 or visit our website at www.minhajwelfare.org. Stay connected on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for the latest videos and updates.
Moving to the UK can be rather overwhelming, but moving your money doesn't have to be. With HSBC Global Money, you can convert, send, or spend multiple currencies around the world whenever you want with no HSBC fees. So you'll be right as rain, as they say in the UK. Search HSBC Global Money, HSBC UK, opening up a world of opportunity. Available to HSBC UK customers with an eligible current account and the mobile banking app. Non-HSBC fees may apply.
Nikah, talaq, counseling on matrimonial disputes, Islamic wills, Islamic law of inheritance, or an Islamic verdict on any other issue. The Muslim Sharia Council is at your service. We provide official certification and our experienced and highly qualified imams are available to provide you with guidance when needed. MQI London is based at 292 to 296 Romford Road, Forest Gate. We are open from Monday to Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. or alternatively, call us now on 0208 257 1786.
Did you know? Product misuse is the leading cause of accidental fires in British homes, with numbers rising by over a third since 2009. Millions are making basic electric safety blunders without realizing the risks. With modern living, our homes are fitted with more electrical appliances than ever before. Stay safe, avoid overloading sockets, unplug when not in use, and never use damaged cords. Your safety matters. For further information, please visit us on www.electricalsafetyfirst.org.uk.
आप यूके में ताज़ा शिफ्ट हुए हैं? तो अब आप एक ऐसे बैंक का अकाउंट खोल सकते हैं जो आपकी बैनुल-अक़वामी ज़रूरियात का ख्याल रखे। HSBC यूके इस ज़िम्न में मदद के लिए हाथ बढ़ा रहा है। यूं आप अपने रोजमर्रा के अहम कामों, बिल्स की अदायगी, रेंट पर प्रॉपर्टी का हसूल, सेल फोन की खरीदारी करना और हालात के मुवाफिक खुद को ढालना। आज ही HSBC बैंक अकाउंट तलाश करके शुरू कीजिए। HSBC बैंक यूके, मवाक़े की दुनिया खोलना। उम्र 18 साल या ज़ायद हो और अहलियत का मयार लागू हो। HSBC यूके में आपको करंट अकाउंट स्विच गारंटी की हमायत हासिल है।
Revive FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile
and online.
And welcome back to the Matab Aziz Celebrity Lawyer Show. We are discussing and predicting the result of Joshua versus Dubois. And, well, when we started, the general consensus seemed to be that Joshua has the edge. But there's been a review of that, and Shaym Batra thinks now that it's going to be
I think there's going to be a draw now.
No, I think there's going to be an upset. I think Joshua might just not. It could even go the full rounds. We don't know. We just got no idea because we don't know about Daniel, what he's planning.
I think the other thing, of course, is that, as I mentioned, because Daniel Dubois is now a champion, I think you'll find that when someone becomes a champion, they're a bit more measured in the way they fight. They're not so they're not so reckless. They don't throw fate to the wind. They're actually more careful. And so that means it may go on probably slightly longer than we anticipate. Because if you remember the Fabio Wardley fight with Fraser Clark, that went the distance, and everyone was thinking it's going to finish in a few rounds.
What's the age gap between these two?
Daniel Dubois is younger. I think he's younger by about 4 years. I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
4 years.
Julius, can you? Oh.
Put them all up, all three of them.
Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We're just discussing.
Ah.
Sorry, we're just discussing about Daniel's age. I think there's
Yeah,
about,
no. I don't think that Anthony's age is. I think there's about 4 or 5 years difference, something like that. I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. Not at that level. At the top of the heavyweight game, 4 or 5 years is no big deal. Especially when both fighters are. Anthony Joshua's not. Anthony Joshua's, I think, 35, 34, 35. And Dubois is in his late 20s. I don't think he's 30 yet. So,
That's quite big.
then-
35 is
I
a
don't-
peak, isn't it?
sorry?
35 is quite a peak, isn't it?
Well, you could say 35 is a heavyweight, maybe at his peak. Between 35 and 38 is when heavyweights are doing their best work, I would say. You know, so
I think Usyk is. I think he's
He's
30,
younger.
38 now. I think he's 38 now.
No, he's not. Is it?
Yeah.
no. Usyk is about 32, 33.
No, I don't think so. I'm sure Usyk's older.
You think so? Well, he fights like a kid then, because he fights like a young man. If he's older, is he older? He's older than Joshua. Andy Joshua.
I was surprised myself when I saw his age. He's actually older than I thought.
Because Anthony's what, 34, 35, yeah?
37.
37. Yeah.
37.
Sorry?
Usyk's 37.
Yeah.
Well, that's as I'm saying, between the ages of 35 and 38 is when heavyweights are I think heavyweights are at their peak. Because you, as a man, as a big man especially, you're getting all your man strength. Because up until that time, you're still considered, and you're still in a boy's body. You know, when you reach 35, between 35 and 40, that's when you really feel as a man, as a big man, you're feeling that your ultimate strength. You can go and lift up cars, and look at weightlifters and power lifters. They're all in their late 30s, and they're all lifting up cars and picking up the most tonnage that they can ever pick up. And this is the same, I think, with heavyweight boxing. When you're 34, between 34 and 40, and say 38, that's when you're strongest, I would say.
Yes, absolutely.
Then when you get to 39, 40, that's when, as an athlete in certain sports, that's when you just go over the hill. But that's what happens in boxing. You reach that age, 39, 40, 41, and you are actually going downhill. You know?
And I think the one great exception, though, to that general rule is a man that you fought. Mike Tyson, I think his peak happened between the ages of I think 19 to 22. I think.
No. And I'm going to say this. Mike Tyson was at his best. Mike Tyson was at his best in his late 20s. In his late 20s and early 30s. Yeah? We remember everybody remembers Mike Tyson winning the title at 1920. Because he had such great skill. So having such great skill, and the other thing about what Mike Tyson had in the early part when he was 1920, is that heavyweights were not used to small heavyweights with such explosive power and explosive speed. We remember when Muhammad Ali was 21, 22. Look at his hand speed. We remember when the likes of Big George Foreman, 21, 22. Look at his strength and his power. So yes, they were all strong, but look when obviously Big George Foreman was was different because he became champion again in his 40s, which was unheard of. But the likes of Ali, Tyson, I know. Look at Ali after he came back from his forced exile from the game when they exiled him from boxing. When he came back and he was 31, 32, 33, 36, he was having some of his best fights. Look at him and Joe Frazier, the trilogies, and then against Foreman. That's Ali in his 30s. The same as Tyson. Tyson in his 30s. Yes, he was not as explosive as the guy that was the kid that we first saw, but he was. But look how measured he was, and look what he brought as far as power. Because not a lot of guys out there were able to stand with him and live with him, and even go the distance with him. He very, very. Even though he was doing that in his early part of his career, because lots of fighters were shocked at what he was actually, his power, his speed, and the ferocity that he brought into the game.
There's also another factor, because the reason why I say Tyson was best at that time is because of his particular style of boxing, which was Castamato's peekaboo style of
Yes,
boxing.
the peekaboo style. Yes,
that
nobody was used to that.
Yeah, nobody was used to that, and the thing is that heavily relied on a lot on speed, because in that style of boxing, you're actually front on. You're fighting front on.
Yes, because you're always front
Which is
foot
very
forward. Yes, you
unusual.
are.
Yeah, and that's why, if you probably noticed later on in his later fights, he got caught because his speed was not the same.
Yes, but his power, the power of the man,
Yeah.
was raised, because he wasn't a boy anymore. He'd actually become a man in his later years. But again, I think the comparison with Tyson is it can be a little bit off, because Tyson is not normal. Mike Tyson was very much an abnormality he's a glitch in the matrix, as it were.
He's exceptional.
You know?
And that's why Frank Bruno, I think, famously said that he'd rather fight Lennox Lewis, I think he said, like 4 times a week or something, and fight Mike Tyson once a year or something.
Well, yeah, I know he did it a bit. I know he did. Yeah, he could it a bit. Yeah.
What's your recollection of your fight? Because often people say that there's like a blur. You know, he's like on you like a.
He was. My recollections of Tyson is kind of like, yes, it's there. He's right there in front of you. And what we did when we trained, my trainer, me and my trainer Mark Rowe, we devised a plan that we said we was going to try and box him. Going to try and use that jab, because we knew he was susceptible to the jab, because obviously he'd had the 2 losses against Evander Holyfield, and we'd seen that he was susceptible to the jab. We weren't expecting. Oh no, we knew we were expecting to have a hard, tough battle, and that's what I was expecting. But I wasn't expecting that kind of Tyson. The Tyson, because he came in on weight, the same weight I think that he won world championships at. He was fit. He came in fit. He came in strong. He came in with no outside influences. So I thought the best Tyson that he'd been for many years, for a few years. You know, when he fought Evander Holyfield the first time, he was in supreme shape, and I think I had that Tyson, the Tyson that came in knowing what he wanted to do. You know, he was in great condition. So in that sense, I take pride.
He appeared very focused. He appeared very focused.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
So focused. You know, he was just, my goodness.
So so that in that sense, I do take pride that I didn't fight this. He weren't because Mike Tyson, you can't say he's ordinary because Mike Tyson, he wasn't no ordinary fighter. You know what I'm saying? I fought a guy that was ready for war, and I obviously I got ready for war and to fight, but I wasn't expecting what I got. You know, I didn't think that he was going to be able to punch as hard as he did, and I didn't think that he was going to be. I've been in the ring. You got to remember, I've been in the ring with lots of big guys, sparring, not only sparring but fighting big guys, and big punchers. But I wasn't expecting. I didn't expect to be punched as hard as him and as fast. It weren't just the power of the punches, but it was the speed and accuracy. You know, which I look back on and think, well, it does. It kind of makes me laugh, but I went in there, I did it.
When he dropped you, everybody was on your foot.
Which time are you talking about?
Your foot. Was it
which time are you talking about when he dropped me? Because he dropped me 5 times, actually. Yeah, 5 times.
That's a long time ago.
Stupidly enough, or because of pride or whatever, I just kept getting up. But yeah, he dropped me 5 times. So
can I just ask? Can I just ask you,
Sorry?
Can I just ask you, because you were in the thick of it. So when you were there, so was the plan to try and keep him at bay with your jab?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we worked on. That's what in camp we worked on, because I had one of Lennox Lewis's chief sparring partners was a guy named Edgar Marcus. Very Tyson-esque. Very Tyson-esque. Moved his head. Moved a lot like Tyson, but not the same. And we worked on just trying to keep, because I had a good jab. I could move. I could box. But the way so what Tyson does when he fights you, or when he fought me, he comes directly to you, straight to you, steps left, steps right, and he threw a right hand at me. And as soon as he hit me with that right hand, in my head, I'm saying, I don't know if I can swear on here, but I was saying, how the F can you hit me with that? Do you think you're going to get away with it? So that's when we got into the big, like, he hit me, and I was saying, you ain't getting away with this. So, and then he draws you into the fight, you know. So that's what happened with me, and he drew me in, and then I thought, basically, I'm fighting his fight, you know. Took me right out of my game plan.
His arm reach is actually not that great, and then that makes it incredible how he's able to always just come in
and he's very good at slipping punches. Obviously, he's worked on it for years. Slipping punches, when he sees that movement, slip, and he's in, and that's what he was great at. And that's obviously that peekaboo style, what Customata had taught him, was there in full effect for everyone to see. For those who witnessed the fight,
one of the best examples of that is actually when he fought Carl Williams. If you watch how Carl Williams got knocked out, that is classic Tyson. Yes. That's classic Tyson move.
Definitely.
Virtually to every opponent he ever had.
Sorry?
Tyson gave away height and reach virtually to every opponent he fought.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yeah. I think, saying that, when he fought Evander Holyfield wasn't too dissimilar in weight compared to Tyson. He's obviously a little bit taller, but the weight difference wasn't that great, you know. And I think obviously they worked and they'd known each other for years from the Olympics. But and it was with Holyfield. Holyfield wasn't he had the experience with Tyson, and he weren't intimidated by him. Holyfield was already a champion. He'd already been a former world champion. And going into that fight, when the first fight that they had, it was kind of like there was maybe there was a little bit of needle, and as Tyson said, that Holyfield he used his head a lot. That was, coming from Tyson, it was a bit of a revelation, because he was the guy that everybody said that when he came through with his elbow, if he missed you with a hook, he was going to catch you with his elbow. If he was able to knee you in the legs, if he was able to hit you low, and if fighters complained about it back in the day, he would say that they was acting like, whatever, like scared chickens or whatever. So it was a bit of a revelation for him to then turn around and say that Holyfield was being dirty.
Grant,
Yes.
so you were obviously been following boxing for so long. In terms
All
of
of my life.
Yeah, all your life.
Yep.
So in terms of where would you place Mike Tyson? Where would he be in your sort of top 10?
I think he's got to be one of the best heavyweights ever in his prime. He'd beat anyone you put in front of him, because he didn't actually, he wasn't a fighter, he wasn't a boxer, he was a killer. He wanted the opponent to die.
Yes.
It's the difference.
It's, what, but see, the thing is, when people say about placing fighters, you have, if you name 10 top heavyweights, and I'm not disputing what Mike Tyson has done, but you could name 10 top heavyweights: Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Fraser, Foreman, Ali, like the list goes on. Jack Johnson, Joe Lewis, like that's kind of 9, 10 heavyweights just there. Where does Tyson fit in that group of heavyweights?
Mike Tyson's like peak years were only about 3.5, and the problem is, you see, most of the other boxers you mentioned, they've all had like 7, 8, 9, 10, even 15 years. Years.
But that's
so this is the thing why people are reluctant sometimes to put Mike Tyson in that sort of top 10, because they feel,
right. Because he only had a short period of top heavyweight content as a fighter and a champion. As great as he was.
There's one boxer which I feel should be in that top 10, and perhaps a lot of people may not agree with him, but I seriously feel that Riddick Big Daddy Bo should be in that top 10.
Yes.
Very hard, fast hands.
Very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. And in fact, Evander Holyfield said that he was the best boxer he'd fought.
Right.
So did Pinklon Thomas. Heavyweight boxer. And also Eddie Futch, who was his trainer, said that he had never ever had a champion boxer like, and he had 25 champion boxers who, with his ability and his capability. Because I think Riddick Bowe was one of these guys. He actually, when he was hurt, then you see he's the best.
Then you saw the best out of him,
and very few people could really hurt him. So this is the problem. So otherwise, he just coast through. But I feel he was one of the best.
I would have liked to have seen Bowe and Lewis as pros if they could have fought as pros, because I think that would have been a great fight. Would have been a great fight between the two of them.
There's also differing views on that one, and you could probably run a whole program on just on that one sort of and the thing is, people often say, well, Lennox Lewis beat Riddick Bowe in the amateur, but the amateurs, you can never ever rely on the amateurs. Henry Tillman beat Mike Tyson twice in the amateurs, but he got knocked out. Got knocked out in the first round in the pros.
Yeah.
So you can't. No, you can never. The same thing.
That's right.
And the thing is, as you mentioned in this program, Julius, as you mentioned in this program, that boxers mature as they grow older.
Yes.
And the Riddick Bowe that would have fought Lennox Lewis would have been far more mature, far more.
Yes. Definitely.
So that's why that fight would have been a really, really great one if he had taken
I
place.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
fight,
I
yeah.
know, yeah, and I know for a fact that a lot of people say, well, he put his belt in the dustbin and he did what he tried to do. That's not true, because I know Riddick Bowe personally, and he's told me himself that was actually something that his manager told him to do as a
Yeah.
gimmick. It wasn't his idea. I mean, Riddick Bowe's not afraid of anyone. I mean, look at the man. He's 6'5". Why would he be afraid? He didn't take
Yeah.
anyone. And I just wish he'd get more credit than he does get.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, so we can all summarize after that. Just stay with us. We're going to go for another break. Thank you.